So a little while ago, I ended a long-term, ongoing friendship of the channel with a large content creator by the name of Shoe0nHead. You know, when I say a little while ago, I mean like 2 or 3 years ago at this point. For many years, I'd been friends quite publicly with Shoe0nHead. She was much more left-wing with her politics publicly back then. And, you know, as I often tend to do, I'm often right, and very loudly and confidently, before it's popular to be right about that thing. This is a very good example of that, where throughout my friendship with Shoe0nHead, yes, I would defend my friendship with her, but I would often criticize her for many things that she would say and do. And I was probably one of the loudest critics within the group of people that she considered friend. And that's according to her, not me. She considered me a friend, from her words in particular. And so, you know, like, she probably wasn't a fan of it, to tell you the truth, but she didn't blow up at me because I had critiques for some of her rhetoric and some of her politics and how she used her platform. But as time went by, I became increasingly frustrated with how often she would do the, "I'm sorry, I realize how this is, like, fucked in one way or another," and then repeat the same behavior. Play dumb, apologize, repeat. You know what I mean? It became such a frustrating issue that when it recurred around the time of Pride Month a few years ago, after a big old terrorist attack that was committed in the name of, like, stopping gay groomers, Shoe0nHead started a conspiracy theory, like a day later, that would then blow up. It made it on Fox News. Not the first time Shoe0nHead's posts on Twitter made it to Fox News, by the way. And it would literally spread across the whole internet. She claimed that Balenciaga may be doing some weird pedo shit behind the scenes because they did a photo shoot that was admittedly kind of weird, but in context, it's like, oh, okay, I see now, but really? They didn't have anyone see this and go, maybe we don't do this one. Basically, Balenciaga decided to showcase a bunch of their dog merchandise instead of, like, having the dog harness being worn by a little chihuahua or something. They had the dog harness be worn by a teddy bear, and they had a kid hold, like, a teddy bear that would be approximately the size of the dog. Now, when you realize that it's an advertisement for, like, small dog, like, brand shit, and they've got, like, the little kid holding a teddy bear in place of a dog, you're like, oh, I guess they just didn't want to get a dog and a kid to stay still for a photo shoot to show off these products. But when you look at it from, like, an internet conspiracy theorist, like, I'm a hammer, everything looks like a nail perspective, you're like, oh, they're signaling to the pedophile cabal that they're, you know, they're in that line of business, right? Now, I forget exactly how far Shoe0nHead went with it with her post, because it's been years and I don't often think about this shit that happened all that much, but from what I remember, she said something mostly leading, less so than outright, like, as a positive statement. Regardless, people took it and ran with it. Shoe0nHead started what would then turn into, during Pride Month, days after an anti-gay terror attack, one of the biggest in the country's history. Shoe0nHead would be the origin point of the next big right-wing anti-gay, gay groomer conspiracy during Pride Month. Mind you, this is the second year in a row she'd done this, okay? I criticized her quite harshly. I more or less burned the bridge in calling her out. You know, she burned the other end of the bridge mutually. Because I'd become so frustrated with her behavior. Like, this repeated pattern. And then on top of that, I think at the same time, I'd gotten a little bit of the ick by the fact that I believe she was engaged to a guy who was, like, a Hawaiian shirt, Pepe poster, like, Nazi memer on Twitter. That kind of shit definitely was like, ooh, I don't know if I like where this person's life is going. I think this is just the kind of person whose life is diverging in the yellow wood away from the path that my life is on. And that's just something that I came to terms with, and I called her out publicly quite strongly. Quite a few of the people in my audience and the audiences that I share with other creators, such as Vosh at the time, were, like, understanding and saw my arguments as quite valid. Many others were like, Zan, stop pulling stop stirring the pot. you know, Zan, you're being deranged. Zan, you're being slander hall, as they called me. Yeah, it was very much like I got a lot of shit. I was framed as being like this crazy lefty SJW whatever, which is kind of wild when you consider what I have been known for historically. But I basically burned the bridge with Shoe0nHead for really no other reason than the fact that I realized that her politics were purely following the trends, and that now that as the trends were getting more conservative, she was getting more conservative. I got criticized for this. I was told I was overreacting, and yet surprisingly, it seems like everybody is now on the same page as me. We've got creators like Metatron, Dead Domain, and many others that have made response videos to the newest video from Shoe called "These People Are Sick." The thumbnail is a picture of her and Charlie Kirk, and the text says "America's Turning Point." And this video is 3 days old and has pulled nearly 2 million views. This video is going super duper viral, and the left has seen this as like sort of Shoe0nHead fully dropping the mask and revealing how far right she has moved in recent years. I have not seen this video or seen clips of it. I don't expect to be surprised by this video. I expect her politics to be exactly what I've always known them to be, and for this just for this to be people realizing now, on this issue in particular, that her politics were always garbage. So, let's check out this new video from Shoe. These people are sick. So Shoe0nHead, who is a known edgy memer, really big on the edgy humor, right? Like, has celebrated the deaths of political pundits in the past that she hated and considered demonic. A woman who used to, for a time there, when it was popular to do so, post images of herself in like a Yushanka, like a fucking Soviet Yushanka, to ironically be a socialist, is about to explain to us why it is unacceptable to even ironically joke about or ironically celebrate quote-unquote, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. The queen of edgy humor is about to tell us why these people are sick for being edgy about this guy.
On September 10th, Charlie Kirk was giving a talk at Utah Valley University, and out of nowhere, he was dead, live, in front of a—
Oh my god, Shoe, figure out your audio balancing. Why are you so quiet, dog? What the fuck? I gotta boost your ass.
bunch of college kids in front of his wife and his 2 children. And I don't think—
That is a lie. So this was a rumor that I fell for. Erica Trump herself confirmed that this is a lie. She nor his kids were there present. I'm not going to say that this is, like, relevant at all to the story, but if there's going to be, like, certain talking points thrown around that end up not being true, I'm gonna correct them. I fell for that one for a while, and I even, like, argued with people in chat fervently, like, dude, no. His kids were there. They watched him bleed out. That is not good. And you know, I just want to clarify, like, Erica Trump confirmed that their kids were nowhere present at this event. So this is just a very common rumor going around. I won't really go up her ass for this one, considering I fell for this one too. Glad it's not true, though.
think the country is ever going to be the same. Not only because of this horrific tragedy, but because of everything that followed. The dark, disturbing realization that we may not be on the same page as our coworkers, classmates, friends, neighbors, doctors, when it comes to the issue of murder. I was crashing out on Twitter a few days ago, just stream of consciousness posting about it, with run-on sentences and everything. 4 days later, I'm
gonna guess at some point she's gonna say, and Charlie Kirk isn't even that radical. Which is crazy because okay, let's be real here. You're only saying phrasing because she's a woman. That's how I phrase, like, I'm up their ass. I'm on their ass, whatever term you want to use. Anyway, as I said though, I'm gonna guess Shoe0nHead's gonna end up saying that Charlie Kirk's politics were not radical. That's my guess. Is that she's going to do the whole, like, Charlie Kirk was standard right-wing politics, standard conservative, not that crazy, not that radical. The reality is Charlie Kirk was a proponent of the Great Replacement conspiracy theory. If you're pushing the Great Replacement and okay, if someone who pushes the Great Replacement is a non-radical conservative, then every argument made about how, like, the left just calls every right-winger a Nazi goes down the drain. Because if that is what, if not just standard conservative is believing in the Great Replacement conspiracy, then yeah, most conservatives are in fact capital N Nazis.
A clearer head, but I still feel the exact same way. So we are going to talk about what happened, we're going to talk about the aftermath, and then we're going to get a little personal, because frankly, I don't see the country the same anymore, and I know a lot of you feel the exact same way, so we're going to talk about it after we talk about everything else. Charlie Kirk was not a healthcare CEO, he was not a powerful politician, and let me be 100% clear, I'm not saying this to say that it's okay when those people are murdered. My point is that those are positions of power that most people cannot relate to. Like, the average person is just so far removed from that world. But I think
I do like that she had to include the line about how, like, because, like, I'm pretty sure Shoe was memeing from wall to wall about the Luigi Mangione thing. I'd be willing to bet she thirst posted about Luigi Mangione. The internet going from, like, celebration of a cold-blooded murder caught on video, like, it being a meme to be like, Luigi didn't do it. He didn't do it. No, you never caught the guy who did it. Like, everyone is collectively, like, not only was the murder justified, but they would testify in court that he's innocent. Like, I feel like they all need to, they all, if they recognize the blatant hypocrisy in going, like, from 1 month being murder good to murder bad the next month, they still need to, like, lampshade it. This is Shoe0nHead lampshading the, yeah, I know we all celebrated a murder recently, but this one is bad to celebrate. Like, we gotta lampshade the elephant in the room.
what happened to Charlie is hitting differently because, like I said on Twitter, he was just a f***ing guy. He was a f***ing podcaster. He was a guy who
He was just a guy. He was just a podcast. I'm not defending his murder, by the way, but, like, I'm not going to not attack defenses of Charlie Kirk. Like, Charlie Kirk wasn't a good person when he was alive, and him being dead doesn't make him any better, okay? Like, if anything, he's worse now, because now he's not present in his wife and kids' lives to like, provide and support for them and be there for them. So, like, him being dead is, I would argue, an objectively worse-case scenario than him being alive, especially with how much the right has weaponized this to be an objective bad thing for the left, even if you're like, fuck Charlie Kirk. So yeah. Shoe changes her eyelashes more often than her clothes. There, I said it. Shoe uploads like once a month, once every 2 months. Guys, I think she probably cleans the outfit between uploads. I don't think she just takes it off, leaves it there, and puts it back on next time it's time to record. I know it's the same outfit every video, but I think she has time to do laundry within the multi-month span.
Talked about politics. He was a guy who had conservative beliefs. Not everyone knows a billionaire CEO or a power...
Oh my god, there we go. Okay, so people are empathetic to Charlie because he was just a guy with conservative beliefs, but people weren't empathetic to the CEO because no one knows a billionaire CEO. So, you are arguing that there is a societal hypocrisy present, one that you represent, and yet we just lampshade it and move on. Okay, cool.
Powerful politician, but they do know somebody with conservative beliefs. They know somebody who holds some or many of Charlie Kirk's opinions. Because despite what people in their little bubble believe, his core ideology and what he believed is the same shit like your conservative boomer uncle on Facebook posts. You can only disagree with this if you are unfamiliar with Charlie Kirk, or you are unfamiliar with the many different branches and different ideologies.
So, if your Facebook boomer uncle is posting about, like, so is this just like, this is exactly what Shoe got criticized for in the era of BreadTube when she was, like, pretend left, for what she had done back in the right-wing era. At no point did Shoe ever defend Nazism, but there were a lot of figures, including, you know, analogous to now, who were full-on open Nazis, that when something happened and Shoe had to comment on it, she was out here saying, they're just moderate, they're just a guy, it's just a dude, bro, like, what do you mean? Like, why are you going crazy at people? What the fuck? And so this is what we're seeing right now. Like, Shoe never herself expressed Nazi ideas, but she was definitely out there defending people like Sargon of Akkad as they JQ'd and pushed the Great Replacement conspiracy. She's definitely out here claiming that, like, whitewashing Charlie Kirk, claiming that his Great Replacement conspiracy theory ideas were standard conservative beliefs, which, by the way, she's cool with. Man, sometimes I understand why Destiny is so aggressive with these people and their rhetoric. I fully understand. That's the main reason why I like still and always have respected Destiny, is because like that motherfucker doesn't hold back. You know, he says the shit I wish I could say.
G's of the right wing. Now, don't.
He can go to prison for me though. Okay, if he wants to Fed post and go to prison, he can do it for all of us. He can be the Jesus of the online left. He can go to prison for our sins.
Don't get me wrong, Charlie Kirk had many bad takes over the years. Like, for example, the two most popular quotes I see people posting are the one where he advocated for stoning gays and black women are too stupid to be pilots.
Or how about the ironic clip of him saying that to protect gun rights in America, gun deaths are a necessary evil that are worth it. Mind you, he was literally repeating that argument. He had just finished repeating that argument and blaming gun violence on gangs as he was putting mic dropping, which was the exact microsecond the bullet hit his throat. Like, he had just finished saying, and the gun violence problem is primarily done by gangs. And he's like smugly smiling and he's mid mic drop, and then he goes and gets hit.
But guess what? Both those things, the two most popular quotes people are posting to justify this guy being murdered, are out of context. But idiots like Stephen King ran with it, then later had to apologize for spreading misinformation about a dead man. These people will build a straw man.
Hold on. Stoning, did he not say the stoning gays thing?
But idiots like Stephen...
Charlie Kirk was not controversial or polarizing, man. Charlie was a patriot. This is a turning point, and we all need to turn in the right direction. Okay, so we got Shoe0nHead defending Jesse Waters. He advocating stoning gays to death, just saying. Let's see, did Charlie Kirk advocate stoning gays? Let's fact check. You got people... Here's like the article about Stephen King apologizing. Hours after assassination, shining others, success, polarizing men, horrible evil twist liar. King responds, checking what happened again. Claiming when attacking YouTube, Rachel for quoting "Love Your Neighbor" and Pride Relations. Kirk said, "Miss Rachel, you might want to crack open that Bible of yours, and a lesser reference part of the same part of Scripture is in Leviticus 18, is that thou shalt lay with another man, thou shalt be stoned to death." He added, "Just saying." Wait, Kirk appeared to be referring to Leviticus 18:22, which states, "Thou shalt not lie with mankind, as with womankind it is an abomination." So, in this video, Charlie Kirk is responding to a gay Christian, explaining why being gay and being Christian is okay. And in that response, Charlie Kirk says, "I'm just saying, in the Bible, you might want to read it sometime. It does say that if thou shalt lay with another man, they shall be stoned to death. Just saying." So, yeah, Stephen King basically just called out Charlie Kirk for the obvious dog whistling there. And obviously, because he didn't word for word say stone gays, he was forced to walk it back. This is a very common tactic among the right. It's good to see it to make a big return in 2016 too, which is the year that we are in right now, it would seem, where if you call out the obvious undertones of what conservatives are saying, then you will be called a misrepresenter. You know, and Stephen King was forced to cuck himself and apologize to these retards.
Stephen King ran with it, then later had to apologize for spreading misinformation about a dead man. These people will build a straw man of you in their minds. They get so fucking mad about it that they
about a dead man, how could they?
Celebrate the real you dying. Horrifying. But more importantly, even if everything was in context, who cares? Oh, he said this, oh, he said this. I don't care. There are many things he said that I disagree with.
Okay, so in that case, we all agree that the murder of Brian Thompson was an unconscionable, unforgivable act, and Luigi Mangione should get the death penalty, right? Because, like, nothing that CEO did could ever make his life forfeit, right? Like, no one should be celebrating that. Everybody celebrating that should be labeled pro-domestic terrorism, and Luigi Mangione should undoubtedly, unquestionably get the death penalty, just like the shooter of Charlie Kirk, right? Right? Yeah. This is the logic they're using if you apply it to Luigi Mangione, by the way. Like, none of them actually hold these standards. That's my main point here is Shoe0nHead doesn't believe any of the points she's making right now as a principle. She only believes them as true in relation to Charlie Kirk. And that's why she had to spend a whole minute lampshading the Luigi thing at the start.
There are many things he said that I think are bad. Who cares? It is just a fact that nothing he said warranted his life being taken away. This is America. We have freedom of speech here.
Yeah. Was Stephen King even celebrating his death? Because the arguments that you're talking about here have nothing to do with celebrating his death. No one you've, shown here has been arguing he deserved to die. It's been responses to right-wing grifters saying Charlie Kirk was a great man who was never hateful, and people responding, no, just because he's dead doesn't mean that he wasn't hateful. He actually was. Here are some things he said and done that were hateful. And they see listing horrible things a dead man has done as reasons why he deserved to die, all on their own. Yeah, there are people definitely making that claim, but the people she's showing here aren't those people.
Unless you criticize a certain country, but for the most part, we have freedom of speech here. So after detaining not just one
2 days later, Donald Trump would then single-handedly get Jimmy Fallon, along with, months before, Stephen Colbert taken off the air for having politics they don't like. The free speech crowd is silent.
wrong guy, but two wrong guys. The FBI finally got the shooter, only because his own father turned him in. I guess they were just too fucking busy not releasing the Epstein files to catch a political assassin. It was this fast deep.
Oh, look, there we got a little criticism of the administration. There we go. Only on the one issue that conservatives will cede ground on and admit they would like things to be better, because it has nothing to do with Trump specifically. It's criticizing the FBI, which, you know, is Trump's FBI and everything, but, you know, that is the closest they'll get to criticizing Trump right now.
Tyler Robinson, 22 years old, another irony-poisoned Reddit shooter who wrote a bunch of memes on the bullets, including "Hey fascist catch" and
"Notices bulges, capital O-W-O, what's this question mark?"
I fucking hate it here. A lot of people.
What about the up, right, down, down, down bullet, by the way? Because, I'm just curious. What meaning do you think we can pull from the Helldivers bullet? You know, because if those bullets are worth mentioning, what about the Helldivers one? I'm just curious. What are we going to mention that one?
We're saying that the shooter was a groiper, which is a far-right fan of the streamer Nick Fuentes, and sadly, I have no fucking idea where that came from. I'm gonna be so honest, I have seen no actual proof of this. And it doesn't make sense because someone further right than Charlie Kirk wouldn't call Charlie Kirk a fascist, and they wouldn't say he was hateful. Their proof is that the shooter once dressed up like the Slav Squat meme from 2012, and they...
This is true. I saw a lot of people on conservative... on lefty Twitter not understanding memes, as they often are wont to do, and they thought the Slav Squat meme was a reference to this Pepe, and because it's a Pepe, it must be a Nazi meme, but it's literally, like, it's a completely innocent meme. It's the Slav Squat.
And they wouldn't say he was hateful. Their proof is that the shooter once dressed up like the Slav Squat meme from 2012, and they also found a separate meme of Pepe the Frog dressed like the Slav Squat.
For those who don't know, Americans lean against walls. It's like an American thing. Foreign countries and their intelligence agencies have to train their agents when they're going undercover in America to lean like Americans do, because we do it so naturally and thoughtlessly when we're in an environment where, oh, we're waiting in line? Let's lean against the nearest thing there is to lean against. We don't even think about it. We just do it. They have to train their secret service or their secret agents to be that way so they blend in public. And then on top of that, there's many other cultures around the world where they've got their equivalent to the lean. And there's, of course, the famous Slav Squat. This isn't even a stereotype. Slav Squat, Americans lean.
Meme. Therefore, the shooter is a groiper. That is like seeing a photo of the shooter dressed like a clown, and then seeing this image of Pepe the Frog dressed like a clown, and then being groiper confirmed. What is the connection? The shooter didn't even post the Pepe image. Where did the Pepe even come from? Just a bunch of liberal boomers not understanding memes. The other thing I saw was...
This is a good point made by Shoe0nHead.
Was the shooter had Republican parents, and therefore the shooter must be Republican, which is just funny because we all see what these people say about their Republican parents every Thanksgiving. But I guess we'll see. It's September 14th when I am recording this, so maybe more things will come out. Editor Shoe here, more things came out, definitely not a groiper. At the end of the day, he could have every single one of my or your opinions. It ultimately doesn't matter. One person may have pulled the trigger.
Okay, good take. Yes, good take. That is kind of the whole point I've been trying to say, is it doesn't matter if he is a groiper or a right-winger. It's probably going to end up being, or a left-winger, it's probably going to end up being that he's a left-winger, was my point, and that you probably should not cede ground to the argument that whatever side this guy ends up being on, that whole side deserves consequences, because they're probably going to end up being on the left, as they ended up being.
Trigger. But then we saw the reaction of many.
We think that Charlie Kirk just got shot in the neck. Hey, ooh, ah.
I swear to God, if instead of posting shit like this, they were making, like, Pepe memes or, like, Wojaks of Charlie Kirk, like, bleeding out, I have a feeling a lot less people would be resonant to, like, cringe and hate these people. Fact is, a lot of the, like, TikTok is cancer for politics. It is, you know, like, we're obviously filtering for the people meant to be the most cringe in their celebration here, so, you know, clench up that butthole for the next 60 seconds or so.
I'm not saying she deserved it, but I'm saying God's timing is always right.
Yo, they got Charlie Kirk, bro. I've never been happier.
Never believe the reason I'm smiling. And it has nothing to do with Charlie Kirk. Nothing to do with...
I would say pour one out for Kirky boy, but I don't waste good beer on little bitches.
Rest in peace, bozo!
Charlie Kirk just got put down like a fucking dog in Utah.
I do not, and I will not, ever feel bad when bad people get what the fuck they deserve.
I just heard that someone shot Charlie Kirk? Thoughts and prayers.
Oh no, someone shot Charlie Kirk. Look, I don't know who needs to hear this today, but that's how you pick up a woman.
Damn. I will say, zero sympathy whatsoever. These are the same, like, the party that is complaining about all these people right now are the same people that have celebrated everything from the attempted murder on Paul and Nancy Pelosi to every trans child who commits suicide or is murdered. We all remember Breonna J., right? We haven't forgotten Breonna J., right? And how to this day, right-wingers still make, like, troll accounts celebrating the death and murder of Breonna J. Kids are not off limits when it comes to the right. The fact is, if, like, some conservative influencer's child was murdered, there would be nothing like this kind of response. The fact is, when, like, a child who is trans gets murdered, there are a million examples to pull from online of conservatives behaving this way about it. But you're never going to see them, like, you're never going to see the Shoe0nHeads of the political sphere react that way, because there's absolutely no market interest in, like, criticizing conservatives who behave that way. Because it's like, that's a given. That's fine, you know. The right are pro-free speech, so they get to behave that way, but because the left is anti-free speech because the right said so, the left doesn't get to have free speech because having free speech while being against free speech, according to the right, would make the left hypocritical. So the right's logic right now is that our supposed anti-free speech beliefs mean we deserve to lose our rights to free speech because having it would make us hypocrites. Mind you, we aren't against free speech. That is a position the right has labeled us with. And normies like Shoe0nHead with 2 brain cells end up falling for that shit and repeating the narrative.
Yo, homie dead! Yo, homie dead!
Alright, I don't care.
Millions of people and thousands like
The whole family, I'm so sorry. Why did you guys stop with him?
There were thousands of videos like that. Some of these people posting with their full names and faces, with hundreds and thousands of likes. Thousands of...
Alright, now we're gonna defend contacting these people's employers, getting them fired, trying to dox them, and find that, because either we're not going to touch on that, or we're going to lampshade that too. We're going to go from, like, oh my god, these lefties are so crazy. If you say the N-word online or say black people should die, they'll call your boss and get you fired to, now watch as all these pieces of shit lose their jobs. I'm just saying, this is what you get when you celebrate the death of a beloved father and husband on the internet. Like, are we going to fully move, are we going to ignore the elephant in the room? Or are we going to lampshade it like we did the Luigi Mangione thing? I'm excited to find out.
Of tweets celebrating it with 500,000 likes, and it's important to remember that all of those likes are a real person. Millions of people in this country apparently believe the
Wait, really? No. No, actually, I'd say like 50% or more of those likes are bots on any post, literally, well, maybe not every post ever, but a lot of posts that go viral. Like, I don't know if Shoe knows this, but the dead internet theory became dead internet law recently. Several independent, institutions have all come out with the headline that it is official, more than 50% of content on the internet as a whole was not made by humans. The dead internet theory is the theory that more than half of what you see online is AI generated in some kind. This conspiracy started in 2010, 2011, when bots were way less sophisticated. Nowadays, it's become undeniable reality. More than half of the internet is bot slop, AI bot slop. And this includes a lot of engagement on viral posts in particular. They tend to congregate on viral posts. So if these posts went viral, I'm sure a lot of the likes were real, but a lot of them were also bots, and I think Shoe knows that, but I'm nitpicking, to be fair.
Acceptable response to speech they don't like is murder. This wasn't just a bunch of...
And so now that they have speech you don't like, what is the acceptable response to that, Shoe? Because the point of the First Amendment is no matter how heinous someone's beliefs are, they should be protected by the First Amendment. One guy went out and killed Charlie Kirk. People are allowed to defend that or celebrate it. That is their right to do so as per the First Amendment. Like, as long as you're not actively encouraging more violence or calling for it or doing it yourself, you're not breaking the law, at least not yet. So what do you think should happen to these people with heinous speech that you don't like, Shoe? Because you claim when it's Nazis, their heinous speech should be protected at all costs. In fact, the most heinous, their argument, I'm going to almost word for word this here. Their argument is the most heinous speech needs to be protected the most, because it's always a slippery slope. If you start with the stuff that seems reasonable to censor, the boiling frog starts there. The water temperature starts rising there. And that no matter how heinous speech is, even the Nazis, you got to protect their right to speak, because it always starts with the people who are, it's popular to censor. And then everyone gets censored. So what response should we have to the horrific speech of people celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, Shoe? How should we react?
Fringe blue hair SJWs or whatever. They were teachers, professors, doctors, HR workers, healthcare workers, nurses, pediatricians, people who work with kids, people's classmates, roommates. They are teachers showing our children the gory, horrifying video of Charlie's murder on repeat. The hippy dippy.
I love how you can tell she gets her news from right-wing sources, because the screenshot she includes here of this article, the live streams they're referencing are Gab, Getter, Rumble, and whatever this is. And then you've got Bodhi's whole body support supplements, joint flexibility and immune support supplements advertised on the side of the screen. Another racist man popped, quote-unquote, Marine fired for mocking assassination of Charlie Kirk. Students saw a man walking on roof at Utah Valley. Trump to deploy National Guard to Memphis. What is this called? Raw Egg Nationalist by check the author. Actual Nazi, by the way. By Raw Egg Nationalist. Oh my god, dude. Because he drinks raw egg. He's one of those folks that thinks you have to eat your food raw. Like, guys, Shoe's husband, who I believe she's now had a child with, is a Nazi, okay? Like, she may not herself be a Nazi, but she is... Alright, I'm gonna hit you guys with the big lore. This is not even a little bit secret, by the way. I'm not, outing some kind of dirty laundry. Watch, 3 of Shoe0nHead's older videos, and you'll find this out. But Shoe0nHead's, a massive bottom, and when she's in a relationship with a guy, she wants to be, subservient to them, and that involves politics and lifestyle. That's why she's always super trad wifey and all that. It's her... She may not be a Nazi herself, but you'll never see her calling out the Nazis like she used to again, now that she's married to one. You know, it's just... I mean, you expect that, right? You're in a relationship with someone, it's yeah. Rating kinks. Listen, I'm the one who had to sit through all those BDSM jokes she and Armored Skeptic would make back in the day.
Horrifying video of Charlie's murder on repeat. The hippy-dippy in this house we believe shitlib mask was ripped off, and underneath was nothing but psychopathic bloodlust. I have seen people on the right celebrate the death of people they disagree with. I've seen it. I remember Heather Heyer in 2017. But I also remember the whole internet, left and right, coming together to disavow and mock the few dozen people from Stormfront who were...
The rewriting of history is crazy. Like, the gaslight, like, I'm being this feels like being personally gaslit because I was there. It's like, if you were an early fan of the channel, you know how many Nazis I built this channel upon in the early days, and the aftermath of the Unite the Right rally, when the charges were hitting the guy who killed Heather Heyer, and all the right-wingers were arguing he needs a mistrial because he'd been found guilty. And they wanted, like, the entire right on Twitter was calling for him to get a mistrial. The gaslighting is crazy. The few dozen crazy people from Stormfront who defended this guy, of course. Like, yeah, in 2017, it was just a few dozen people online defending this guy. It's not like this happened at an event where thousands of people marched with tiki torches chanting "Jews will not replace us," you know? Like, there was just a few dozen crazy people, you know? Fine people on both sides. The right and the left really united to call out this bad behavior, because the right just isn't in favor of this kind of stuff. This is a left-wing problem. She's really dropped the mask, huh? I'm glad to see that the left has finally realized I was right about Shoe0nHead. Wow! Wow, it took 3 years and me losing thousands of subs from the controversy, but hey, the left figured it out. Isn't that cool? Let's go, dude. You know who's probably extra salty about this right now? You know who has every right to be, like, giga fucking salty right now? Cult of Dusty. Holy shit, bro. Oh my god. Cult of Dusty deserves the biggest apology ever. Holy fuck.
Celebrating her death. This is different. It's never been like this before. It's never been...
Who? Exactly. You don't know who he is because Shoe0nHead's fan base and the amount of crossover she had with the online left back in the BreadTube era, and how much he criticized her for being a blatant grifter, led to him being, like, dunked on to the point where most of you guys don't know who he is. He'd be way larger and most of you would know who he is if he didn't criticize Shoe0nHead when it was too unpopular to do so. This is what I talk about when I say, like, there are, like, as a left-wing figure, your existence is so tenuous. If you call out the wrong bad person, it could be the end of your, like, future online. And that seems to have been the case for Cult of Dusty, sadly. I watched Cult of Dusty until he became too black-pilled over Israel-Palestine. I didn't even know he was still making content, to be honest. I haven't seen his stuff in a long time. But yeah.
This much. It's never been this brazen. Normal people have to log into, like, an alternate Twitter account where they can post their more unorthodox opinions. And these people are out here, full face, full name, like, hell yeah, murder. What? The smug, unearned confidence these people have to be openly sociopathic with their full name and face because they live under the pathetic delusion of being on the right side of history needs to end. They will blame you for your death because words are violence. Words are...
Are we getting to the "and this is why they deserve to be fired" thing? Because for those that don't know, Asmund Golden Grums have led a mass doxing campaign against every person they find on the internet celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. And they're reporting those particular people to their, like, employers to get them fired and saying, well, the left did it, so now it's fine. It's like, obviously, like, the left, quote-unquote, did this is the most vague, like, every single progressive is now culpable for the actions of any progressive type shit ever. All the while they pretend like that logic shouldn't apply to them as well if they think that way. Roseanne just said it today. Yeah.
For violence, so them killing you is just self-defense. That's why they're using Kyle Rittenhouse as some kind of gotcha. Oh, if you don't condone political violence, why do you support Kyle Rittenhouse? They fundamentally don't see the difference.
Come on, acknowledge the real call out, which is then why do you support Luigi Mangione? Like, okay, here's my big question. This is what I want you to ask people who are mad about Charlie Kirk's death. Do you think that the shooter of Charlie Kirk should get the death penalty? Their answer will probably be, oh, absolutely. Yeah, if he's guilty, then 100%. If it's really him, yeah. Yeah, he should totally get the death penalty. It was cold-blooded murder. And then you ask them, do you think Luigi Mangione should get the death penalty? I really want to see how most people respond to that follow-up question.
difference between killing someone over speech and killing someone over self-defense, because these are the same things to them. Also, I'm going to be the one to point it out, because of course I am. I saw nobody else do it. Why are most of them women? Most of the people celebrating are women. Like, it's a good, like, 80-20 ratio.
Well, because most dudes who celebrate, like, okay, I'm gonna be honest, guys are socialized on the internet, fed posting and knowing how to, like, safely fed post. Women don't really tend to grow up fed posting online. That's just typically not the case. Different spaces, different socialization, that kind of thing. For many of these women on TikTok, this might be their first time celebrating a death or fed posting on social media in any way. And, yeah, they don't know that they're not supposed to do that publicly.
Show all over the internet. What is going on, ladies? Basically, the whole country is shook because
Also, let's be real, like, Shoe, you're the exception to this, like, wanting to fuck Nazi, like, conservative thing, you know, like, most women in America right now get what's called the ick when they see a conservative guy, when they see a guy's following has, like, Alex Jones, Charlie Kirk, you know, Andrew Tate, like, when that's, like, their top of their follow list, it's like, ooh, red flags, not going near that guy. Most of these men are struggling horribly to find relationships, something you know to be true because he made videos about the lonely men epidemic and how the left doesn't talk about it enough. These are not men who typically do well in the landscape of dating and romance. And so, yes, it makes sense that women are like, yeah, fuck Charlie Kirk, because, like, Charlie Kirk, guys who watch Charlie Kirk are one of the #1 most avoided groups by women when it comes to potential partners and hookups. Like, remember, these guys are all some level of incel. Like, these are the people complaining about how, like, men can't find love anymore and men are single and virgins and like, the left doesn't care. You know, like, that. Are they really going to try to pull the, like, why are women celebrating this thing? It's like, because this guy literally doesn't believe women should have the right to their own body, you know? Like, the amount of women who've died on operating tables as doctors don't know what to do because they're afraid they'll go to prison if they abort a pregnancy. The amount of women who've nearly died in that situation, even higher, way higher, in fact. Like, yeah, there's a lot of women out there who see themselves in the women who've nearly died on the operating table because the policy people like Charlie Kirk push. And so, yeah, like, they're not exactly going to cry over it. There's going to be a higher percentage of women who are pissed about it. You know, like, they don't want to end up with an ectopic pregnancy or a horrifically awful miscarriage that, like, they can't get treated for because the doctor's scared to go to prison because they live in Georgia.
Last year, they realized how many people would celebrate the murder of a president, and this year they realized how many people would celebrate the murder of them. At the end of the day, this is all the inevitable conclusion of the punch a Nazi thing from, like, 2017.
I love this, by the way. Like, Charlie Kirk represents the average American. Meanwhile, we find out from Candace Owens, of all people, and this has been confirmed, though the rest of her claims not so much, that Netanyahu offered him $100 million to resume being pro-Israel. So, like, yeah, he turned it down, which is pretty base, but he wasn't taking down the rest of the money he was getting. Like, a guy who's offered $100 million by the president of another country is not the average conservative, the average American.
Do you guys remember that? We always knew it was a slippery slope. That's why we were against it. And they always say this dumb shit like...
Wait, what's this?
We always knew it was...
Reminder, this man thinks it's fine to punch anyone he considers a Nazi. Please tell me again how that's not a slippery slope. True. See it? Look, she's now bringing back her tweets from the embarrassing era, as she used to call it, of 2016 to 2017. Remember how often Shoe would, like, post about how cringe she thought she was back in the Gamergate era? Now she's bringing these tweets back up, like, look how right I was back then, because Gamergate politics are back. God, oh man. Oh, we were so right about her. Holy shit. It's so nice to see everything come full circle.
Was a slippery slope. That's why we were against it. And they always say this dumb shit like, if you don't want to be called a Nazi, stop being a Nazi. Even a congressman from my state, New York, was like, oh, if you want to stop being called a fascist, you should stop being a fascist. Yeah, that's great, except you called everyone and their mother a fascist and a Nazi for the past, like, 15 years. And I see a lot of progressives in my...
Shoe0nHead could never in a million years win a debate with any progressive on how Charlie Kirk is not a Nazi, okay? And I'm not saying this because, like, oh, Shoe0nHead sucks at debating. It's like, if Shoe ever was in a one-on-one conversation and someone brought up the things Charlie Kirk has said, and then said, so you think this is just normal right-wing politics, that, like, this is standard right-wing politics, and that, like, the average right-winger has these beliefs, and that, like, the left is insane for thinking that this is dangerous? Like she could never, no one could hold up that position.
My audience, like, Shoe, you're not like Charlie Kirk. You're not a fascist. Here are all the things I have been called Nazi, fascist, reactionary for over the last few years. Would you like to see? I have been making this list since 2023. Let's go. Let's just read this together real quick. Mocking / criticizing pop feminism. Believing adults can do whatever they want. Being pro-free speech. Being liberal. Talking to people I disagree with.
Do you think maybe there's more to this list? Do you think there's more to this list than the way she phrases these things? Being pro-free speech, being liberal, talking to people I disagree with, supporting Bernie Sanders, being a registered independent, criticizing Joe Biden, criticizing the Democratic Party, being not ugly. Do you think that maybe, just being a little dishonest here? Maybe just a little bit? Okay. Well, the left has realized I was right about Shoe0nHead all along. She is now back on her Gamergate bullshit. And, well, it's been so many years since I was so right about this that, I don't get any of the credit. No! Man, I gotta stop being right all the time. My timing on being right is just so bad, you know? You gotta be right when it's popular to be right, not when it's morally best to be right, you know what I mean? Anyway, folks, if you enjoyed this video and you want to support it and support me, consider leaving a like and a comment down below. It really does help a lot. It forces YouTube to push my content out to more people, so I appreciate it. Subscribe and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications so YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload new videos in the future. Follow my social medias linked down below as well if you want to see more from me, especially my Discord server. And of course, if you want to support me directly, financially, help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xanderhall studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub to me on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buy some custom Xanderhall merchandise through the Streamlabs link down below. Regardless of how you support me, though, thank you all so much for watching, as always, and have a good one.